أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه ومن استنى بسنة إلى يوم الدين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, brothers. And we're discussing fiqh. And before we start, I think you'll have your final exams towards after 2 weeks. So I'll try to finish before that and give you some time for Q&A as well. And the final exam will be also like the first test. It'll be Microsoft Office forms based. So you'll have a link and you should be able to access and answer the link, questions of the link. Type.
So it will be on one particular time, Ustad, or how is it? We can choose the time. How is it, sir?
Well, let's see how we progress with the agenda topics. If I can finish and give you one special class for Q&A, then we'll do it in class itself at the same time like this. Or maybe I'll give you some few days so you have the flexibility of accessing. Mostly the latter. Mostly I think I'll give you maybe till the weekend so you can access and do it at your free time, inshallah.
Thank you, sir.
Type. So we now want to start looking at Salah. We talked last week about the conditions of Salah. Now, and this hadith is very important in terms of Salah. Rasulullah said, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, of this hadith from Malik bin al-Huwayrith, radiallahu an, Sallu kama ra'aytumuni usalli. Pray as you have seen me pray. Rawah Bukhari, Muslim, and Abu Dawud, and other books of hadith. Sahih. Pray as you have seen me praying. Sallu kama ra'aytumuni usalli. Have we seen Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam praying? Obviously not, because he's not alive. He's not amongst us today. Nah? But the Sahaba have, radiallahu anhum. And Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he demonstrated the Salah to them. In fact, in full view on the mimbar, he went on the mimbar. He stood up, went up the stairs, came down to show them how to pray so they could all see. And they all would pray behind him, every single Salah. And this method of praying was transmitted down to us through Sahih chains, isnad, now in what we call the hadith. So today, if you open the book of hadith, book of Salah, book of prayer, if you have Bukhari, Sahih Bukhari at home, or Sahih Muslim at home, for example, or Abu Dawud, and look for the authentic hadith amongst them, now it is as if you have seen him pray. It demonstrates, it explains, it details the way he prayed in such great detail. Yani, it is as if you're seeing him pray. Allahu Akbar. This is one of the miracles and one of the wisdoms of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Coming back to the important command, this is a command. This is an instruction. This is a fail amr. This is a verb of order. It is a command that pray as you have seen me pray. So we have no other option actually. We have no other choice. If you want to see your salah to be accepted, you have to pray it in the way Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam prayed it. We already saw how he made wudu. We saw how he made ghusl. We saw how he made tayammum. And these are the conditions to have tahara before salah. So now we will see how he prayed. And again, do not take my word for it. Please open the books of hadith and check if what I'm saying is correct or not. So the hadith is pray as you have seen me praying, seeing Rasulullah praying. Not pray as your father prayed, or your grandfather prayed, or your uncle, or your cousin, or your masjid imam, or your madhab imam prayed. No. Pray as you have seen me praying, Rasulullah praying. The instruction is very simple, very small, very explicit, very clear. I am a Hanafi, I will pray like this. I am a Shafi, I will pray like this. I am a Hanbali, I will pray like this. I am a Maliki, I will pray like this. And there were other madhahibs, Zaidi, Laythi, and so on and so forth. So simple question. Abu Bakr Siddiq, radiallahu anhu, the first person who will enter Jannah after the prophets and the messengers. The person who will be called through all the 8 gates of Jannah. The angels will call him, Ya Abu Bakr, enter through my gate. This is the honor Allah has bestowed upon him in Akhirah. He is in Jannah. What was his madhab? Was he a Shafi or a Hanbali or a Maliki or a Hanafi? What was his madhab? Abu Bakr Siddiq, Umar, Uthman, Ali, the 10 given the glad tidings of Jannah, and others given the glad tidings of Jannah besides them. What was their madhab? Imam Abu Hanifa was not even born at that time. So we have to go back to the original sources. When you have a hadith which is sahih, and you have the qawl of your imam which goes against it, what will you take? The sahih hadith, of course. This is logic, yani, common sense. So their madhab of the Khulafa Rashidun and other Sahaba radiallahu anhum, and the Sahabiyat, may Allah be pleased with all of them, was the madhab of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But before we get into the Salah itself, I have a few points which are not mentioned in your book, in your material, but these are important, which we want to highlight because they have a bearing on your Salah. First and foremost, Sutrah. What is Sutrah, Ustad? Sutrah is something you place in front of you when you pray. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam always used to take a sutrah. Even when he was traveling, he would get off the camel and he had to pray. He would put a spear in front of him and pray behind the spear. The sutrah serves multiple purposes. A, you know somebody is praying. B, if you want to pass in front of him, you can pass beyond the sutrah. Because of the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if somebody tries to cross in front of you, stop him. If he continues again, stop him again with your hand. If he doesn't again, fight him because there is a shaitan with him. So it is not allowed to pass in front of a person praying. So you take a sutrah. How should the sutrah be? The scholars, based on the hadith, they say it should be at least a hand span tall. So your forearm, your hand span, from your elbow to your palm, approximately, that thing, approximately. Give or take a few centimeters, okay. But it should be visible in something in front of you. So it could be a spear, it could be a wall, it could be another person sitting in front of you. All these are valid sutras. Not behind you. It has to be in front of you. And usually the space, when you want to put a sutra, for example, the place of sajda, where your forehead touches the ground, and the distance between that and the sutra should be approximately the distance to allow a small baby sheep to pass through. That's the hadith. So maybe a foot or slightly lesser is okay, inshallah. Right? Clear? Now in praying Jamaat, when you're in Jamaat, so you're praying behind the Imam, the sutra of the Imam is sufficient for everybody. Right? So what do I mean? The sutra of the Imam is sufficient for the whole Jamaat. So nobody should cross between the Imam and his sutra, which is usually the masjid wall. But you can cross in between the saf, no problem. So if I break my wudu and I'm praying in Jamaat, I can just cut across the saf, no issues. Nobody should stop. That's okay. You get the point? But if you're praying alone, yes, you need a sutra. This is better to take for all the reasons I have mentioned. The second point in Salah is to have Khushoo. Khushoo is focus, concentration, tadabbur, pondering, contemplating on the verses you're reciting or the Imam is reciting. All this is the peace and tranquility which comes out of it is Khushoo. So you're not distracted. Which means what? You keep away things which distract you completely, because this is your golden opportunity of speaking to your creator. Your CEO of your organization, the big boss, the board of directors, whatever, manager, chairman, he calls you for a meeting. What do? You make sure your phone is switched off or even left behind in the office. You get your best attire, best outfit. You make sure your hair is okay, perfume, ittar, whatever, and you go on time. You don't want to make him wait. You go maybe before time, and you're waiting until the secretary calls you and tells you, oh, yes, you can go and meet him. And you plan what you want to speak to him. Because you want to make that 1 hour or half an hour meeting you have count. Because you may never have another opportunity to meet him. So you plan, what do I say? How do I start the meeting? What do I say initially? What do I do? If he asks me this, what do I say? Everything is planned and rehearsed. And then you meet him. Yes or no? And you don't want anything to just distract you. Because this is your golden opportunity. Likewise, brothers, here you're meeting the King of Kings, Ash-Shahinshah, your creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who can get you entry into Jannah, the one who can take you away from hellfire. And you may never live to see the next Salah. You all prayed Isha now, alhamdulillah, hopefully, depending on where you're joining from. But I may never live to see Fajr. There is no guarantee I will pray Fajr. So make every Salah as if it is your last Salah. So keep your phone at home or switch it off completely. The world will not end. Our parents, our grandparents lived without phones. And the life was very peaceful, better than our lives. And you're in the house of Allah. You're standing in front of Allah. How can anything bad happen? Would Allah take care of things for you? Of course. So switch off your phone or put it on silent, not even vibration. Wear your outfit so it doesn't bother you or others in the Jamaat. Some people take out the phone and listen and look at who's calling in Salah. I've seen this. In Salah. Subhanallah. So they're wasting this 10 minutes of their time. Try to learn Arabic language. Try to focus on the ayat. Try to know what you're reciting, what the Imam is reciting. That builds, increases your Khushoo. And there could be other points, but we want to move on. The last point is a very, very important point. The word Imam itself is from Amama, something in front. So the Imam is someone who has to be followed. Why? Rasulullah said, apart from the meaning, Rasulullah said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Imam is appointed to be followed. So you follow the Imam itself. You do not go with him. You do not precede him. The word follow itself is what it means, right? So for example, if I'm driving in a car to a particular location, let's say, I don't know, Kharj, here near Riyadh, there is a place called Kharj. And I don't know the location. I don't have GPS. My phone is not with me. I ask you, you know the location. You're also going to Kharj. So I say, yeah, brother, who's there today? Ahmad or Anjum. Yeah, I want to follow you. So I don't get lost. This is the meaning of follow, right? So Ahmad drives his car. And if I want to follow him to Kharj, so I don't get lost and lose the way, I have to be behind him. If I pull over alongside him on the next lane, am I following him? No. If I go faster than him, because my car is more fast, and I'm ahead of him, am I following him? No. There is a petrol station coming along the highway. When we say I'm following Ahmad, Ahmad has to cross the petrol station first in his car, then I will cross the petrol station. This is what it means by follow. This is a simple English word. In any language, this is what it means. So when Rasulullah says follow the Imam, you wait till he finishes and then you start your movements. The Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they would say in the hadith, after they get up from Rukoo, so they're in Rukoo, they got up, they're standing straight now. They said we would not move to go into the next position, which is sajda. We would not move until Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has placed his forehead on the ground. This is following the Imam. So when Rasulullah would go into sajda, his head would touch the ground. Now the Sahaba would start moving from the straight position. We see many times also, this applies even to the Qiraat. So the Imam is reciting Fatiha, let's say for example, and he's saying Walad Da, and people start saying Ameen behind. You're going ahead of the Imam. Your Salah is in danger of being rejected. This is very important, brothers. Many of us make mistakes here. We are holding our hands on the chest. And the Imam is reciting a surah loudly. And before he finishes the surah, we drop our hands. The Imam is still holding his hands on his chest. Oh no, I want to show off that, I know the surah and I'm a hafiz and I know where he's stopping. I know the rukoo, I know this, I know that. Subhanallah. Mushkila. It's not following the Imam. So brothers, keep all these points in mind. Very, very important points. Points which will help your salah be complete and accept it 100% inshallah. Taib. Aisha, al-Mu'minin, our mother, the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam radiallahu anha, she said, Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam during his illness prayed in his house sitting, whereas some people followed him standing. But the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam beckoned them to sit down. Why? Because he's sitting, he was the Imam. Follow the Imam. Even though they could stand, but they had to sit because he's the Imam and he's sitting. On completion of the prayer, he said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Imam is to be followed. So bow when he bows and raise your head when he raises his head. Sahih Bukhari, Nasai, Abu Dawud, and so on. Right? So now we want to get into Salah. We still have some time, inshallah. Let's start the way of Rasulullah's prayer. Again, please go back and check the books of Hadith. I want you to do this research. And do not take my word for it. Do not take anybody's word for it. Because this is very serious business. This is our deen. And we do this 5 times a day. At least. Now. I will also send you a video of Sheikh Aziz bin Farhan on Salah. It's a good video. He demonstrates exactly how to pray because I'm not switching on my camera, so I can't do that. But I have some pictures, some sketches, which will inshallah help. First of all is the Qiyaam position. Qiyaam is to stand. The meaning of the word Qiyaam is to stand. Qiyam al-layl, standing in the night. Right? So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would stand facing the Qibla. We said facing the Qibla is one of the conditions, if you remember last class from the Shurut. Brother Ahmad, I know you have a question. Please write it down. I'll have a special class. The last class will be only Q&A. We'll have only question and answers and we'll address all your questions, inshallah. Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Qiyam is a rukun. We'll talk more about this towards the end of the course. We'll talk about the arkan, wajibat, and sunnah. Imran bin Hussein radiallahu anh, he said, Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, pray standing. And if you are unable, pray sitting. And if you cannot pray, lying on your side. Otherwise, pray by isharat, signs. And this is Sahih Bukhari. So there is no excuse to skip salah. If you can pray standing, pray standing. And this is from the Rukun, if you're capable to. Because some people have health issues, body issues, bone issues, backbone, low back issues, and so on and so forth. But other problem I want to highlight here is some people, they have some issues to make Rukoo or Sujood. So they take a chair, for example. But they can stand. But they pray the whole Salah sitting. This is wrong. Because standing is a pillar. You have missed a pillar, which means your Salah is invalid. So if you can stand, you should stand. When the Imam goes to Rukoo, now you cannot make Rukoo. Now you can sit on, no problem, inshallah. Pull up the chair and sit on. And for the next rakat, again get up and stand. So Qiyam is very important. Rasulullah said, if you can't pray standing, pray sitting. If you can't even pray sitting, pray lying down. If you cannot even pray lying down on your side, pray with isharat. People ask me questions. Fala is in the hospital, he is sick and he can't pray. This is a solution. This is a solution. There is nothing like he cannot pray. He has to pray. If you can't make wudu, there is tayammum. Tayyib. After facing the Qibla, Rasulullah would do something called Takbeeratul Ihrem. Takbeeratul Ihrem. Now, these are pictures I pulled off the internet, so alhamdulillah. Takbeeratul Ihrem, excuse me, is the opening takbir. Why is it called Ihram? Why is it taken from the word haram? Because after this, everything which is halal also becomes either makruh or haram. So now your focus is only Salah. Rasulullah would raise his hands. Raff, yadein. Raff is to raise. Yadein because 2 hands. Yadein. 2 hands. We have 2 hands. Raff, yadein. He would raise them, as you can see on the right side there, Face the palms stretched out in a comfortable manner, and the palms facing the Qibla. The palms facing the Qibla. Two positions are proven from the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The palms would be raised to the level of the shoulders or to the level of the ears. Right? These two positions here. These are proven. He would not hold his ears. He would not put his fingers in the ears. He would not hold the ear lobes. He would not put the palms sideways. All these are incorrect positions. There is no evidence of this from the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Many people from the subcontinent, the Hanaf, they hold their ears. They put their fingers in their ears. They do all kinds of things with their ears in Takbeeratul Ihrem. This is galat, khata, error. There is no hadith for this. Brothers, my objective is to give you the salah as Rasulullah prayed. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You may take it, you may leave it. This is your choice. And Allah is the witness. Barakallahu fikum. I'm not here to promote anything. I'm not here to promote a particular agenda. I'm here to promote the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Barakallahu fikum. That's why I said, do not take my word for it. Maybe you will not like what I'm saying. That's fine. But check it. Don't just keep quiet and keep blindly following what you were doing. Go and check. If I'm right, follow, alhamdulillah. Not me, follow Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If I'm wrong, please come and tell me. Barakallahu fiqh. This is very important. So no hard feelings. Type. So this is the way of Takbeeratul Ihrem. And throughout the salah, anytime you do Raff yadein, and we will see you have to do it many times, always this is the position. To the level of the shoulders or to the level of the ears. Not touching the ears, not putting your fingers in the ears, not holding your ear lobes. All these are incorrect, not proven from the Sunnah. Sahih Sunnah. So after doing this, and he would say, sorry, along with this, he would say, Allahu Akbar, because that's takbir, right? He would say, Allahu Akbar. So as he would raise his hands, he would say, Allahu Akbar. And then he would place his hands on his chest. Ustad, what about placing it below the belly button, below the navel? Wallah, this is not a Sahih hadith. This is a very weak hadith. We have many Sahih hadith in the books of hadith. I can go back and check, where Rasulullah placed his hands, as shown on the bottom there, on his chest. On his chest. Not below the belly button, not on the side near the heart, not leaving the hands hanging on the sides. No, you clasp your hands on your chest. Like this. These are the two proven positions. The right hand over the left hand. The left picture first. The right hand over the left hand. So the right palm covers the back of your left hand, your wrist, and part of your forearm. The left position, the left picture here. Right? This other right picture is also proven from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he would grasp his wrist with his thumb and his fingers. Both positions are sunnah, both are sahih. So you may want to use any one, or you may also want to mix. No problem. So first two rakat you pray like on the left, the next two rakat you pray on the right. That's fine. That's good. You're trying to complete the sunnah. But the whole salah you pray like left, or whole salah you pray like the right position is also permissible, jaiz. Wada. These are the positions proven. This is wrong. Both these positions are not the sunnah. We see some brothers going to extremes. They place it on the chest, but not really the chest. It's like the area of the throat, like the one on the left. This is wrong. Or sometimes they bring their the arms all across near the elbows. This is also wrong. It is not proven the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The two positions which are proven are these. On the chest. Not below the stomach, not the pubic area, not below the belly button, not hanging on the sides. This is not the sunnah of Rasulullah. I don't know whose sunnah it is. Barakallahu fiqh. So once he would do this, he would then recite Yes, sorry. We talked about the first 2 points. The third point is, what about your eyes now? Many brothers, we see them closing their eyes in Salah. This is galat, khata. Your eyes should be open throughout Salah. Yeah, Ustad, but I cannot focus. I focus better when I close my eyes. No, this is not the Sunnah. Irrespective whether you can focus or not, do other things to be able to focus. We talked about Khushoo earlier on. If you follow those points, inshallah, you can focus. But the Sunnah is to keep your eyes open. You do not close your eyes in Salah. And the eyes should be focused on the place of sajda, the prostration. Approximately, you don't have to bang, to the millimeter. No. Approximately, you know exactly when you go and stand in the masjid and there's like the carpet or whatever, you know approximately where you're going to hit the ground when you make sajda. So you focus on that area with your eyes open and your ears listening to the Imam. Wada. Throughout Salah, your eyes should always be on the place of prostration, except 2 places. One, when you're making tashahhud. So when you're moving your finger, the Rasulullah would look at his finger. And the second is when you make taslim. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. So you look to the right and then you look to your left. Apart from this, every other position, Qiyaam, Rukoo, Sajda, Jalsa, you're looking at the place of Sajda. Rasulullah would recite what is called Dua Istiftah. It is also mentioned in your material. Most of you know there are multiple supplications from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, 3 or 4, but the most common is this one, right? Subhanallah, subhanakallah wa bihamdik, and tabarak asmuka, and so on and so forth. Most of us know this. There could be others also which you can recite, which is sahih, proven from the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we recite Dua Istiftah. This is called the opening dua. Taib. And you can refer to that link on Hisnul Muslim. Hisnul Muslim is a good reference for you. The fortress of a Muslim in English. In Arabic, it's called Hisnul Muslim. Naam, by Sheikh Sayyid al-Khatani, may Allah mercy upon him. It's a fantastic collection of authentic, sound, sahih supplications for all walks of your life, including acts of worship. So you'll find that there in that link, for example. This is a website link, but the books are also available. You can get a soft copy, hard copy, and everything. If you can't, let me know and I'll send you a copy, inshallah. After Surat, Dua Istiftah, Rasulullah would say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Allah says, subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the Quran, meaning of which is, when you recite the Quran, seek refuge in me from shaitan, the accursed. So because we're going to recite Quran in our salah, right? So we have to recite the isti'adah, which is A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. And please, brothers, when you recite this, focus on the meaning. Don't just recite like automatically, it comes out like lip service. No. Focus on the meaning. Because this is going to protect you from shaitan during your salah. It'll help you focus. It'll help you have Khushoo. Barakallahu feek. And then he would say the basmala. Excuse me. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The translation of the meaning, in the name of Allah, whose mercy encompasses everything, the merciful, and so on. It's an okay translation, but it's not the exact translation. The word Bismillah or Bismik, with the ba there initially, is actually literally means we are seeking the help and the blessing from Allah. To what is we are going to say next, or what we're going to do next. So Bismillah I eat, Bismillah I pray, Bismillah I drink. Yeah. So this word Bismillah is actually, it means we are seeking the blessing and the help, the aid of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But this is okay, inshallah, for those of you for whom Arabic is not native. And then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he would recite the complete Suratul Fatiha. Suratul Fatiha. So he would say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and then he would start with Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin until the end, pausing after every ayat. The sunnah is to pause after every ayat. At the end, as we know, we say Ameen. What is the meaning of Ameen? Because the last part of Surah Fatiha, it starts off with praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then there is a part which is between us and Allah, half and half. And then the end is a dua, which we make. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Guide me to the straight path, Sirat al-Mustaqim, the path on which you have on which you have bestowed your blessings upon for the prophets, messengers, shuhada, the righteous, and so on and so forth, and not the path of, or keep me away from the path of غير المغضوب and ولا الضالين. Who are the غير المغضوب and ولا الضالين? From the Sunnah, from the Hadith, we know these are referring to the Yahud and the Nasara, the Jews and the Christians. And then we say Ameen. Ameen means, oh Allah, accept my supplication. Oh Allah, answer my dua. Oh Allah, accept from me. Whatever, similar meanings. Right? And this is usually said in Salah. If you recite Fatiha now, just to show me your recitation, for example, you will not say Ameen in the end. The Sunnah is to say this in Salah. Either if you're praying alone or you're praying in Jamaat. In both situations. And then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would recite any other surah or ayah. Yes, you can also recite ayat. So let's say you want to pick Ayat al-Kursi, for example. Ayat number 255, Surah Baqarah. So you can recite Surah Fatiha and then you can recite Ayat al-Kursi and go into Rukoo. No problem, inshallah. It doesn't have to be a complete surah. It depends on the time you have, and it depends on, all those things. Right? There are various considerations. What you memorized depends on that. You want to revise your memorization. So let's say you're doing hifz, for example, of the Quran, and you want to revise, do muraja. This is a golden opportunity in Salah. So whatever you learned that day, you try to use it in Salah in your rakat and memorize it and revise it in that manner. So it could be a complete surah like Surah Ikhlas, for example, or Surah Naba, or it could be certain ayat from a particular surah is also permissible. No issues. And this is a pillar. Reciting Surah Al-Fatiha is a pillar. Rasulullah said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the hadith, the one who doesn't recite Surah Al-Fatiha in Salah, his Salah is invalid. Rejected. If you're praying alone, you're praying in Jamaat, Zahiri Salah, loud Salah, like Fajr, Maghrib, Isha, or a Batini Salah, like Dhuhr and Asr, either way, any situation, you have to recite Surah Al-Fatiha. There are certain exceptions, we'll talk about them later on. Maybe when you have questions, we can answer those. Right? So this is a rukun, this is a pillar. And then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he would go into the next position, which is Rukoo. Rukoo. So in Rukoo, as you can see from that picture there, your palms, of course, you will say Allahu Akbar. Do Raff yadein, raise your hands to the same shoulder level or the ear level. You say Allahu Akbar, and then you bow. You bow. And your hands are straight. Some scholars allow bending the elbows a bit, depending on your height, depending on your body situation, whatever. But the important point is that your back should be straight, as shown by the line on the top there. Your back should be straight. Your backbone should be absolutely straight. Of course, again, for those who are capable. If somebody has health issues, he has backbone problems, it's different. Exception. I'm talking about normal people. The hadith says, if you put a water on the back of Rasulullah, a drop of water, it will not move. It will stay right there. Because as we know, fluids, liquids, they flow from a higher level to a lower level. Because his back was so straight, the water just remains on the back. It doesn't move. That's how they described his back in Rukoo. So this is the sunnah. The palms are outstretched, placed on the knees, as you can see in the picture there. The head is in level with the back. Sometimes many Muslims make a mistake. The head goes a bit down or it goes a bit up. This is wrong. Make sure the head is in level with the back. And you can practice this at home. Ask your wife, your children, look at you when you're doing this to correct you, or look in the mirror, for example, and practice this. Your eyes should be open. And as you can see there, focus on the place of sajda. Not between your legs. Many people look between their legs. Oh, my socks needs cleaning. Okay, that guy's nails need cutting. My nail has grown a bit longer today. Subhanallah. This is wrong. Your eyes should be always at the place of prostration. And then the sunnah, and one of the supplications in this position, Subhana Rabbil Azim. We all know this. And preferable to say this 3 times. Glorified is my Rabb, the exalted. Type, and again, you can find other supplications which you can do in Rukoo, in that link at the bottom from Hisnul Muslim again. I think we'll stop with this. Fine, let's stop with this, brothers. So we did Rukoo. We still have the rest of Salah to finish. And then we have the Arkan, the Wajibat, and the Sunnah to go through, which we'll try to do in the next 3 weeks to be done. Right? We have 2 weeks. Time. So mostly your test will be not in class, but over the weekend. So I'll give you some time because I want the next 3 classes. So next class we'll try to finish completely Salah. The following class maybe Rukoo, Wajibat, and then we'll see Q&A in the final class, inshallah. Barakallahu feekum. I'm sorry I can't take questions right now, but please write down your questions so you don't forget. And we'll do a special class session. Last class will be only Q&A on what we covered. Barakallahu feekum. We'll see you inshallah next week. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.